it was on that email. I don't know if I can pull it up.
So we're going to
You'll
be,
be fine.
Patrick
You can do
still
this.
in Iceland?
Yeah, he sent an email today.
No, I just wanted to have the agenda.
Did you find it?
Yeah, yeah. Do you have more copies of that? Or do you have
Yep.
extra?
We're there.
Did you keep a copy of this? Is that Richard's
Oh.
question?
I thought that was
Yeah, yeah, I've
a
got
long question. You have the question, yeah. From
Yep.
Rich.
Mhm.
You're gonna read that, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
All right.
5 o'clock. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I think we are going to start with roll call first. Okay.
All right, Schumate, Cox,
Here.
Cosmore,
Here.
McNabb,
Here.
Molnar,
Here.
Valentine, Wood.
Here.
Me.
Okay, so do we need to make a motion to excuse Valentine? And who else is missing here?
Sure.
Or Schumate.
And the mayor.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All right,
Or you, me.
second by McNabb. Okay. Any discussion? All right, call the vote. Cox,
Yes.
Cosmore,
Yes.
McNabb,
Yes.
Molnar,
Yes.
Wood.
Yes. Okay, so we have all that out of this way, and tonight is just, or this afternoon is to interview our candidate for city administrator, Christina Laszlo. So if you want to come up to the podium and just make sure the mic is on, I don't know if the green light is on.
Yep.
Okay, so everybody can hear you, and then we start out, everybody is going to ask a question all the way around, and we'll just get started that way.
Okay, I'm just
Correct.
gonna pull out my talking points too.
Opening statement, can you, what is it you can tell us about yourself?
Did you get a copy of my resume?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, my name is Christina Laszlo. I'm born and raised in Michigan, Southeast Michigan. I have 20 years of experience in governmental and nonprofit organizations. Most of that time I spent in Dearborn Heights, where I was in charge of day-to-day operations. That pretty much entailed ensuring each department operated within the state, federal, and local guidelines within the city budget in accordance with the various union contracts. In addition to that, I dealt directly with our insurance company, and I was the city representative in all the lawsuits of Dearborn Heights, so I worked really close trying to reduce our liabilities. I worked with the Defense Council, and we came up with some policies and best practices which reduced our liability to very little lawsuits every year, and we actually started receiving reimbursements from our insurance company that the last 6 years was close to $2 million in reimbursements.
Can you, what is it you know about Gibraltar?
Oh, okay, sorry.
Oh, that's okay, it's a second, two-part question.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, first, I used to come to Gibraltar all the time on the Bablo boat. The Detroit boat was bigger, but this one was quicker. I know that this is along the river, and Dearborn Heights, having two different watersheds, the Ecorch Creek and the Rouge River, run through our community. I think we have a lot of similarities in dealing with the same agencies, and I think I could bring a benefit to that. The other things, I was looking at the city of Gibraltar these past couple weeks, and I did mention to some of the council members and the city clerk that it's a different form of government than what I came from. This is a strong council rule. I would be excited to work under a strong council rule. I think it involves more people working together and being on the same page, or at least getting a majority to be on the same page. I was also looking for a hierarchy, and we discussed that. I didn't see one, but I'm interested to see how the role of city manager would work with the fire chief, the police chief, the city treasurer, and I noticed the finance director, how I interact with that and how my budget skills come into play. I'm interested in that. I don't know a lot about it yet, but I'm interested to learn.
Very good, thank you.
Okay. My glasses on.
Glasses.
My name's Marcia Cosmore. How you doing?
Hello.
Communication is the key. And how are you asking for help or instructions if you're not comfortable with a task?
I'm not afraid to ask questions. If I don't know the answer, I have never been one to try to fib the answer. I need to know the answer. I was fortunate enough to work under many different mentors who had years of experience. So listening to them and gaining their knowledge, I now have years of experience of my own, plus I have their history that I take with me wherever I go. If I do have an answer or a question I need answered, there's obviously city records that I can go to, but city employees too. I think a lot of times people discount city employees. They're the people that deal with most of the items day to day, and picking their brains, I think, would help build a relationship of trust with them and help me gain knowledge on the subject I'm not quite familiar with.
Hi, question 3 is, when you are faced with limited resources, financial resources, human resources, and otherwise, how, as a manager, do you set priorities for how you'll use the limited resources that you have?
Well, I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to work during the Great Recession. So we worked with limited resources, as did everybody. We had talks even of getting down to essential services. So I have that in my arsenal to get the employees, the unions, the elected officials, and the residents together if tough decisions have to be made. But most of the time, most communities in southeastern Michigan are operating with not an excess of resources, right? We have 1 or 2 people to do a job. So you got to get creative and you got to prioritize, but more importantly, I think you have to be more efficient. When I worked in Dearborn Heights, we used to have just quick story, we used to have this cleanup crew where the water main breaks would happen all winter long, and in the springtime they'd come in to do cleanups, and it was cleanups done as the water main breaks came in. So this was taking many, many months when we could go in and reorganize it and just hit different areas. So same amount of resources, same amount of hours, but it was combining these efforts to get things done more quick. So I do believe in prioritization, but efficiencies as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
As the administrator, how do you view your role in local government in comparison to the role of the elected officials?
So I never want to be an elected official. I am not a person that wants to be in the spotlight. I'm comfortable speaking in public, but I'm not a person in the spotlight. As an elected official, you guys take an oath, and your oath is to do in the best interest of the city. not necessarily what's in the best interest of each individual resident that comes to you with a concern. So as an elected official, you guys have your own set of skills and set of priorities. As an appointed position, I have to do what's best for the city within my scope of job duties. However, because I do work at the will of the council, I have to ensure that the council's vision and priorities are also prioritized in my day-to-day duties. I think that because of this, I'm still responsible to the residents and to the public, and I still need to show a face of Gibraltar that's very similar to what the elected officials would like that to be. I don't know if I'm answering your question or if you'd like me to go a
think
little
you did.
deeper.
I think pretty
Yeah.
much spot on.
Thank you.
Question number 5. In your role as administrator, who do you feel is the most important group, individuals, or organization you interact with?
So I would work for the city of Gibraltar, but I work under a contract with the city council. So the city council would be important, and there's special interest groups, I'm sure you have residential leaders or commissions that would be important. But I think the city employees are the most important people. I think for me, these are the people that would be an extension of me. These are the people that would be working for me. These are the people that I would need to know how they're interacting with the public, and I would need to know what their concerns are, so I can ensure that they feel valued and they feel respected, and then in turn value and respect the residents. I think that would then give me the most positive image to not only the council but the residents themselves, which would then give the most positive image to the city of Gibraltar. So everybody's important, but the employees are most.
Next.
Okay. In your professional career, what do you find to have been the most rewarding aspects of your current or previous jobs? It's a two-part question.
Okay.
And what do you think are going to be the most rewarding aspects of the position you're applying for?
So again, I'll go back to Dearborn Heights. The most rewarding things when I was able to get a contract passed by the mayor and then the council and then the union, it felt like I won a race. The budgets passed every year, trying to get the budgets passed with the department heads and the mayor and the council on board. That felt like I won a marathon. But the biggest rewarding aspect is something I see every day is the Warren Valley Golf Course. The county was going to sell the Warren Valley Golf Course, and there was some misinformation on it. It was going to be a backdoor deal, real quick and quiet, and I had to make the public aware and activate enough people to get the county to notice, get surrounding communities to notice, and get the elected officials to notice. So I had a little over 3 days, but I activated close to 6,000 people. And we made sure that the Warren Valley Golf Course stayed, not only open and operating, but the city ended up purchasing it from the county, and it's still in operation today. So that's my biggest reward. That's something I can see and it's tangible. And what I'm looking forward to, if appointed in Gibraltar, are those things that, having worked in corporate for a couple years, and coming back to municipal work, it's tangible things that you can see. Little things that I do every single day actually affect people, and I can see the positivity that I bring. Working in corporate, I feel more like a cog in a machine where there's very little that I see, very little output that I see for all the work I put in. So I'm really looking forward to municipal work again.
Thank you.
Next question. Do you have any experience with millage requests? If so, What do you feel are the most important aspects of a successful millage request campaign?
So I do. I have had millage requests. I did not lead those campaigns. I had very close friends do that. But I think there's like 3 or 4 parts. I think the first thing before a millage goes out, the elected officials have to be on board. You can't have even one person say, you don't need a millage. Muddying that water, trying to get money out of residents, it's not gonna work. You need to get the employees on board. You need to, with the employees on board and the elected officials and the directors, you can show the residents that everybody's coming together and that they need the money. They're trying other things. It shows a united front. You need to be open, you need to have town halls, and you need to have a unified message. Getting the employees involved and activating walks and just branding the city as a unit and as a cohesive unit, I think is really important.
Thank you.
Ask this one, so this one we will-
Sure, yeah.
Oh, wait, no, never mind. That's the next one.
That's no problem.
All right, sorry about that. Okay, the manager could potentially serve as the DPW director, DDA director, be on the pension board, the HR director, benefits coordinator, interfaces with the planning commission, as well as performs a variety of other roles. How would you address the need of such a diverse knowledge base to be efficient and effective in all these roles?
Well, I have that diverse knowledge base because I had that and many other hats in the city. And as people retired or as the need saw fit in Dearborn Heights, or there was a need, or we found that there should have been a need, I gathered my hats. And in order to juggle everything, you have to be aware of due dates, and you have to be aware of deadlines, and you have to be organized. All those different roles you just mentioned, planning commissions, they have their hot years with the master plan. They have their hot items with different construction or different times a year. The DDA as well. The DPW, I'm 100% comfortable with. I worked under a mayor where at times I actually had to go in and sit as the DPW representative for a lot of the downriver communities, the APWA, the roads commissions, the roads budgets, the water budgets, the Act 51 budgets. They all have their different times. So knowing that and focusing my effort and my time in the right area at the right time, I think allows me to juggle. The HR director, you said, and benefits coordinator, I also worked a lot with changing healthcare plans, consolidating healthcare plans, working on union contracts, doing a lot of work with actuarial studies. So I worked with both the pension boards in the city of Dearborn Heights, who has 2 pensions. I don't know how many pension boards or pension systems Gibraltar has. I didn't find that on your website either. Do you have an Act
And we
345?
got the Teamsters for them, 3.
Oh, different unions, but probably all the same pension system.
We have 2 pension boards.
2
Two pension boards,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, so I'm familiar with that, and I'm familiar and also negotiating with unions that sometimes don't understand why some retiree benefits are afforded to some units and not the other, and it's because of the boards.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
In this position, you may be dealing with multiple outsourced city departments. And these vendors include our assessor, our building department, our engineering department, our legal department, and our planning. But in the eyes of the resident, they are all simply the city. What is your approach to a citizen and to the out-of-office vendors performing their scope of work to ensure that the particular request is getting properly addressed and communication stays up to date with the citizen and between the multiple vendors?
The I pay your salary question, the residents, the residents do, they pay for city services. I'm familiar with working with contracted employees, contracted departments, contracted firms, and services. Again, the residents pay for city services. Those firms and departments are therefore paid to provide city services. Whether or not they're paid directly from a payroll check from the city of Gibraltar shouldn't matter. They should have the same values as the city of Gibraltar has. They should be provided with the same answers that a city of Gibraltar employee would give to the resident. It reminds me of when we went out for bid on a garbage contract, and we were having a lot of issue with the former waste hauling contractor who would leave the items at the curb because in our city ordinance, it stated how many items can be at the curb. And then we would have to go out, and it became where the other neighbors would then be looking at this trash sometimes for a couple days, up to 2 weeks, when we were trying to figure out who was responsible. So I made sure the new waste hauling contract had whatever's at the curb gets picked up. Our ordinance stayed the same. We'll deal with the resident who's putting out excess trash. We'll write tickets if we have to, give warnings, charge them a fee. But the items at the curb have to be picked up. So there's almost, it's seamless in the residents' eyes where they pay for a service, it gets done, it doesn't matter who it is. But on the back end, that would be my job to make sure that the contractor is doing what they're supposed to, is providing the right information to the resident, and that the resident are getting those services.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Dorothy, do you or Rick want to read the next one so I can read Treasurer Fontain's
Oh.
question?
Sure, okay. Question number 10. This is a question suggestion from our police chief. It says, I know you took the time to prepare for this interview. Is there anything that you were expecting us to ask and we did not?
I really don't have anything.
That's a surprise question there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did ask me a little bit about myself. You didn't ask why I left the city of Dearborn Heights, or why I left my former, my other Blue Cross and Blue Shield. But other than that, no, there's not really any questions.
Okay.
Very good. Why don't you let us know why you left?
Oh, okay. Well, in January of 2021, my boss, the former mayor of Dearborn Heights, died of COVID suddenly. So my position was appointed, and when the new mayor came in, obviously there was a replacement there for me. And then I went over to Blue Cross, and I figured I'm done with municipal work. I want something that is safe, is secure. I'm not going to have an appointment hold over my head if an act of God happens and my boss is unable to perform his or her duties. And when I went to Blue Cross for budgetary issues, my position and many other positions in my pay grade that didn't have 5 years were let go. So I kind of went there for job security, and turns out it's not secure. So I'd rather be back in municipal work. That's what I love. And knowing that nowhere is secure, I think I'm just a little bit more prepared to be prepared with the resume at all times, I guess.
Very good, thank you.
Yeah.
We have one last question, and there's a handout at the podium. It's kind of a lengthy question, so that's why we put it up there so you can kind of follow along.
I see it.
This is from our city treasurer, who couldn't be here tonight, so I'm just going to read it on his behalf. As the city's recently appointed treasurer and the custodian of the city funds and accounts, we have recognized the importance the city administrator responsibility has to ensure that all 5 departments under your direct management to follow the disciplines and processes outlined in our purchasing and credit card policies and the city employee employment policy. All too often, department heads and others affected by these policies for various reasons will test the waters by ignoring these processes and procedures. This forces administrative staffs of accounts payable, payroll, and others to process their paperwork and prepare checks for co-signing without all the required backup documentation essential for the check co-signers to execute the checks and/or the release of payments or payroll via the ACH method. The staff does this for the fear of being late in payment processing, or perhaps there may be other influences that may make the push for payment, even though all the approval processes and procedures have not been completed. So it's a four-parter question, and its first question is, what disciplines, processes, internal controls, and management style do you practice ensuring the taxpayers that this won't happen under your administration, no matter what the department managers lack with the appropriate approval processes or the influence of the prevailing political climate is or will be in the future?
So I think a very important relationship to have is with the city auditors. The city auditors, whoever your firm is, should have best practices that they've went over along with the Corp Council. And so you have your first set of best practices and policies that are outlined up top. The next thing to do is to test these. I would talk to the auditors to see if there's any weaknesses or there's any potential findings for these weaknesses. And to have a proactive approach to change those policies and procedures to make sure that they're tight. The first thing I would say is that no checks should be issued or signed off on without documentation or the sign-offs. I'm sure that's in your list of not only best practices, but probably somewhere in your ordinances. And secondly, if there is a issue with timing, I would make sure that the council is aware and that it's, I don't know if this is over a threshold, whatever the threshold is, if we would need something that was approved. In the past, I can think of a couple things that were hot items and had to be approved, and we could take a straw poll, but all that information would be there. We could also get a pre-approval at a council meeting for an amount not to exceed this amount, and then once that contractor, we knew the amount, we would come back to the council with that amount. But I don't think that there should ever be a case where those proper sign-offs are not made. If somebody's out of town, you said the mayor's in Iceland right now, you have something in place to have the mayor pro tem then sign those checks if checks need to be signed. On the last part, I would make sure that the employees know and constantly review, whether it's annually or a semi-regular basis, to know these policies and know these practices and know that they're there, and probably even post some of them to make sure that there's no question about them.
Thank you. Number two for his question is, what's your experience with reviewing present accounting practices such as described above?
So annually, we would sit down with the auditors before they would start their audit, usually in August, and then at the end as well, and discuss what we have as best practices and policies, discuss what we, what the auditors are now bringing with the new state or federal laws that we're going to need to develop new policies and practices, and then use their expertise and their recommendations to go back and tweak our policies. At that point, we probably get the Corp Council involved. Also, if you have a different set of defense councils or insurance companies, to see where other communities were lacking or other communities may have got got hit, like with cyber attacks or other things like that, that kind of all communities followed really quick with new policies and new firewalls as soon as these other issues came up. So,
Number 3 is briefly describe how you would analyze and correct, if needed, any issues affecting city funds. You kind of touched on that. If there was anything else you'd like to add?
yeah, or yes, I apologize. The monthly budget to actuals and monthly financial statements need to be reviewed. You need to review your cash flow statements, because there are certain times a year when you get that revenue from the county that you have a lot of cash. There's other times you don't have that much cash. There's certain times that cash come in when residents pay their taxes, or if, I didn't look, but if dog licensing fees are all due at the same time, other things like that. You're gonna have times a year where you have a lot of cash, and, those times, I think, extra, set of eyes, extra counting, we need to be aware of those times, and we need to make sure that, once again, those policies are, followed. If there is an issue, obviously, we would pull the employee, and, depending on the nature of the issue, get the police chief or the court counsel involved, depending how severe the, infraction is. And then change our policy and make sure, once again, that employees know that getting that knowledge out there and just driving it home, how important it is, I think is something that should be looked at, or not overlooked.
And number 4 is, if appointed, do you have a timeline, say, for your first 100 days for establishing your review and recommendation analysis over the 5 departments?
I actually have some talking points on my first steps. Yeah, I think looking at the makeup of Gibraltar, the first step I would take is to meet with the board to understand the board's expectations and priorities. I would then meet with the other departments that are not under my umbrella and see how we work together and see how we interact on a day-to-day basis. I would then go to the supervisors and directors under my umbrella and understand their responsibilities, their expectations, and see if there's any special nuances specific to Gibraltar that I might not be aware of. I would then look at former plans from previous mayors. I would identify any discrepancies. I would then develop a plan with my subordinates and with the input of the other areas that are not under my control to take back to the city council and get their feedback, and then I would be able to put that plan into action with the priorities and the budgets in place to complete whatever projects or services I need to fix.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
That wraps up that question.
Okay, that's it for everybody's questions? Okay, I think that's what we have for tonight's interview. And if you have anything that you want to add or anything that you want to ask?
Yeah, I do. The 5 departments are the DPW,
DPW, police, fire, finance, and parks and recreation.
and that is all under the city manager umbrella. Okay, that's what I thought, and then I've been looking this past week, and I couldn't find anything, so I didn't know if there was separate with the treasurer and the finance, or if it was all under this umbrella. Okay, then this is much more similar to Dearborn Heights then.
Yeah, so the treasurer is an elected position that is outside of oversight by the city administrator, but the finance director is under the supervision of the city administrator.
So I would be working with budget, and I would have, okay, that makes much more sense then. Thank you for that.
So there's one other question that we've been asking everybody, and that is, do you have any personal or business relationships or experience with anybody in the city of Gibraltar, on this council, or otherwise involved in our government? To your
I went to
knowledge.
JP's 2 years ago, and I I used to, we did used to have, Dalton's Towing. Daryl Jameson, I think lives in Gibraltar, but I don't think he does services or did services for Gibraltar. He was a towing contractor. But, he did services up in Dearborn Heights, but other than that, not to my knowledge, no.
Okay. How did you hear about this job opening, this job posting?
The Michigan Municipal League?
Okay.
Okay, that's it? Everybody's good? Questions? Okay, I think that wraps up the interview, and thank you for coming.
Can I thank you all again for meeting with me? I didn't realize it was a special meeting just for me, but I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate you coming in.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think for Monday, we're talking at our, before our meeting on Monday,
Okay.
so we will be discussing all the candidates, and so hopefully after that, we should be able.
Would you like me to attend on Monday, or?
Not necessarily. I think what our intention is to put together a list of questions and reach out and communicate in between now and then with starting date potentials and salary requirements and requests, and then we'll communicate with each other in the meantime, and then make a decision on Monday night, and we'll inform you at that point.
Okay.
That's the plan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
One
very
more.
much.
I'm just gonna keep asking questions, so one more, and then you can.
Oh.
If I could find a little bit more information about the unions, you said you had Teamsters?
We've-
No.
We
Who-
do have one Teamster
Teamster?
agreement.
And then, is it just POAM and COAM for the police, and then, the fire is, just an affiliation?
No.
Volunteer,
Volunteer.
fire department,
Okay.
paid on calls.
Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm familiar with the POAM, so,
And then with the DPW is the Teamsters, right? Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Teamsters?
that is our DPW and our clerical.
Are the
clerical
Teamsters.
staff.
Yeah.
It's Teamsters, yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you very much again.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
evening.
Thank you. Okay, well, since we have nobody in the audience, I don't think we have any
Well,
public comments, so.
Staying on the topic of city administrator.
Yes.
Good night. I wrote down these list of questions that I thought we could distribute to our potential candidates, the ones that have interviewed with us, as some follow-up interrogatories. And I thought maybe we could, it would benefit us if we seen a writing sample. So if we distribute these list of questions, and I'll hand out what I came up with here, and we can add to it or subtract from it. You can use mine if you want to pass those two down. But I thought we could add to it or subtract from it as you guys see fit. Just to get some follow-up, because there are some questions that we need to ask these folks that'll help make our decision clearer. And you can see the questions on there. They're with respect to what their anticipated office hours are. It's a salary position. What are their expected salaries or demands or minimum demands? Some of these questions that we would follow up with, maybe calling references, requesting background checks, things of that nature, so that, starting dates, all that stuff, so that we can be educated on what those items are as we go into Monday's meeting. And so,
See, I thought when we were going into Monday's meeting, it was like to discuss the candidates and then pick out, and, because usually this type of position, you always want to do second interviews.
Definitely.
So I figured we'd pick out our top ones and do a second interview with them. And then, these are good questions for like the second interview and bring them in. We won't want to do check references of ones we don't want to bring in.
yeah, so again, I thought getting a written response from them on these questions was, I thought you get to see the writing style, you get to see how much time and effort and energy they put into a response. I thought there was some value associated with putting these in written format.
Well, you can still do that. You can have them bring that to the interview, you can send them out something ahead of time, have them write up, if you have a question you want them to write up or write about, you might want to ask them, like, your experience with this, whatever, with the water system or whatever, and then have them bring it with you, and then, because I've been in interviews where we've done that, have them actually do a whole display and come in and show us everything, you know, what they know and stuff. Because your second interview, you can go a lot more in depth, like this first one's.
So are you wanting to email this to people, mail this to people?
Yeah, no, I thought emailing it to them, because I think some of these questions are things that, you know, when you start talking about salaries, they're things that might be better, you know, back and forth on email before we enter into a decision, and then the pay becomes, you know, public record as to, you know, what their pay is. But negotiating a salary in camera in front of the other applicants and the other people that they're prospectively looking at positions with just seems a bit out of order to me. You know, we've never negotiated a salary standing in front of everybody. It's, for a department head, it's negotiated and then presented to council accordingly. So I thought, you know, sending these written things down, and we can, again, I think we can add and subtract from that. But expediency has been, you know, something that is super important. There was a couple of good candidates in this that deferred and told us they're not going to come in for an interview because we took so long to reach out to them and communicate. They took a different position in the meantime. So I think that they're waiting for Monday to reach out to these people again. We may find out that one or two or multiple of these people took other jobs if we don't have some expediency in communicating with them. And I think that we need to kind of take initiative here. We've been, you know, without a full-time city administrator since January. I feel like it's imperative that we make an effort towards expediency and asking some of these deep penetrating questions and getting the opportunity for them to write something in response, showing their interest level and seeing where the numbers work out. I just see value in it.
Yeah, well, there's nothing to say when we do send them, you know, the information, we could include where our pay is gonna and we can let them know that ahead of time. But I mean, I think as far as expediency, I mean, we just interviewed on Friday, and today, I mean, we're meeting on Monday, that's, for this kind of job, that timeline's fine. I
Well,
mean, because these guys know, you know.
I think the frustration is the 8 months to get to this point.
Well, yeah,
Marcia.
well, and we did really think we had somebody, you know, that was,
So-
we had offered it.
And I think Rob is right, and I've seen, I mean, there's, the delays can lose you candidates as well because they're obviously pursuing employment, right? So they find an alternate, some of our best ones might leave because of an alternate opportunity. I agree with you know, trying to set the pace as quickly as possible to get this resolved and behind us.
I don't think this is out of the ordinary. I mean, this is something you're going to ask them anyway, so, I mean, if you want, right? Have you ever had any problem with that? Like sending emails to people, or? I'm just saying that, you know, that I agree with what you're saying, because we do want to speed up the process. And if this is what it takes, just an email and to answer it and to move on, I don't see a problem with it, but that's.
Well, I would certainly volunteer from my perspective to reach out to the references. And if we want to do that and by giving a council resolution to give me, you know, the approval to do that, or if we want to create a small group of us to do that and compile the responses from references, I think that we would be benefited from putting this information together by Thursday for the council packet, getting it to Katie so that we have an opportunity to have that in our Friday council packet. We can read it over and look through the results therefrom over the weekend and be that much more prepared come Monday for whether it's scheduling a second interview or even acting at that meeting and making the appointment at the appropriate time. So again, I'm happy to volunteer to do that. If somebody else wants to work with me on that, I'm happy. Or if you guys decide that that's not the route you want to go, and you know, that's fine too.
I don't know, this is just myself, I mean, to me, I don't think Monday's that far for us to pick out. I mean, I can't see why we would be calling like some of the references that we know if we're not gonna hire them.
Well, why don't we do this? This is just a suggestion. We send these questions to our current candidates that we have them respond. It gives us a more informed decision to make on Monday, as Rob is stating. it gives them time to answer these questions too, so that it might help us narrow the field from where you're at right now on prospective applicants, you know, based on their responses, so.
So would it be permissible in the meantime for any one of us council people to reach out to the references on our own and check in with the references?
I don't think there's anything wrong with a council person doing their research if that's what they want to do based on whoever they may feel is the appropriate candidate. I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask questions about them. They are interviewing for a position for us.
Right.
Yeah,
But-
and we've
yeah.
already interviewed them, so, I mean, they're expecting us to check references. I mean, it's not like it's a surprise,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, but, because actually, that'd probably be, like Vince is the one that should be like getting the references, I do believe, rather than one of us.
Well, I mean,
Trying to think what the protocol is to,
Last time, I believe the committee did it.
yeah.
yeah, there was, yeah.
I disagree that, I think that it is us that's making the hiring decision, and it's us that are making the appointment. It's us that live in Gibraltar. I think it's us that need to be integral in the research associated with this so that we are educated in making the proper determination.
I agree. So do you want to set up a committee or just somebody, you just want to do this? Or what is your,
Whatever your comfort level is, I'm happy either way.
So you want to call the references on everybody that we interviewed then?
Yes.
I mean, I can do it too. I mean, I've done that kind of stuff before, but,
Do you want to split it with me? We'll both do it?
yeah, we could do that, yeah. Yes, yeah, we probably, I mean, we can, if that's what you guys want, that's fine.
And it doesn't have to fall under a committee,
No.
because we can't create a committee unless it's open act.
Yeah, because the committee things changed a little bit.
Right, agreed.
The newest and greatest thing, so I think.
Would we need to make a motion or anything based on sending these questions out, or is it just a topic of discussion for us to?
I think having, go ahead, Katie, if you want.
I don't think a motion ever hurts.
Agreed. Yes, that's
So we
basically
probably
what I was.
should create a list of questions, and each one of the references should be asked the same questions, because we would need to fill that out, because we want everybody to have the same information.
Yep, so my three questions that I would ask the references is, what is your overall opinion of this person's, with respect to their work? And then the second question would be their strengths, and the third question would be their weaknesses. And keep it very, very
Simple as
simple.
that.
Overall opinion, okay.
Yeah. And we'll withhold background checks until we determine a little bit further, unless, I mean,
Why wouldn't,
because if we're prepared to offer somebody a position, and then their background check comes back with something that causes us concern, then it gets right back into that expediency and delay issue. I don't see the damage in asking everybody if they will fill out a background check request and get it over to the police department in the meantime.
Yeah, we don't want to go down that rabbit hole again.
Yeah, and certainly they could say, well, hey, I don't want to fill it out if I'm not getting offered the job, and we can say, all right, no, you know, we've requested it.
that would be up to them if they want to do it or not, so.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah,
Okay, so why don't we include these questions, okay? These form of questions to the potential candidates, and include the background form with the email and ask that this information be filled out, you know, by Thursday. Does that work?
Yeah.
Or is that too late? Katie, you tell me, do we want them, today's Tuesday, do they fill it out by Thursday to have it in there?
To be in the packet, I'll be doing the packet Thursday afternoon, so.
So
yeah, because if we get somebody,
if we send, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but please return information by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Thursday, like a bid process, you know what I mean?
yeah.
And depending on who submits the stuff back, will give us a better understanding of who we're
Yeah, and certainly
trying to
if
talk
they
to.
turn it in late, we'll be able,
Still send it.
yeah, we'll get it, but we'll certainly.
We won't open the bid if it's not here in time.
We'll give the people the appropriate time, and understand that people have things going on in their life and whatnot, but try to get it, and I can send these out tonight.
That's,
So if we could get a resolution approving me to send these questions, or, it doesn't have to be me, but approving council to send this list of written interrogatories to each candidate, and in addition, Marcia and I reaching out to the references for each of these candidates.
second.
Did you make the motion?
I make the motion, yes, I guess so. Do you want me to repeat that?
I can get it.
Okay,
Questions, references, background check.
yes.
Actually, I think Katie should send these out. They should
Yeah,
be
you're
coming from
gonna,
the
you're
clerk's
gonna email
office.
these, Katie, to each one of the candidates
I can.
that we've
It
interviewed?
should be
I don't, I could probably send it and copy you too, if it makes it expedient. Either way, whatever you're comfortable with, I'm happy with, it doesn't really
Well,
matter.
I'm just saying it looks more proper when it comes out from the clerk's office to everybody. I know sometimes the business stuff looks stupid, but there's reasons for it, so you try to keep it all coming from the same
I think-
place and going to the
I
same
mean,
place.
Rob, if you set it up and I think if you CC
Yeah,
Katie,
yeah.
that includes the clerk in that chain of events.
Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Yeah, well, thank you for that prompt. Any discussion?
No?
Call it.
Are we good? Okay, so we made a,
Motion to send out these questions to the candidates, kind of like a subset of questions. And to have councilpersons Cosmore and Molnar to call references and to begin process for background checks on the candidates.
So it's been moved and supported, discussions there, you need to call for roll.
Cosmore,
Yes.
McNabb, Molnar,
Yes.
Wood,
yes,
Cox.
Yes.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
all right, that's it, there was no comments, that's it, we're done. Motion to adjourn, is that what you said?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I think it was a good idea to.
I need
Well,
a
we got,
second.
we got to second it, and so, is that you seconding it?
Yeah.
Any discussion?
Discussion.
All right, McNabb,
Yes.
Molnar,
Yes.
Is it to
Wood.
close?
yes.
Cox,
Yes.
Cosmore.
Yeah. Okay, so who do you want to take?
It makes no difference to me, I'll take any.
Well, I should
job,
probably take the one
Mayor
that you
Pro
know.
Tem.
You should do
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
You look, should I take a picture
So
of
I
you sitting
think
there?
the only one that I know would be Kristen